Why did they turn my phone upside down? Boy, I tell you, the sabotage is too strong. Now can you see it? Now that they've turned it this way, they want the video to be done in this manner. Joe Budden, rap phenomenon Joe. And I guess this is Ash and this is Ish. Right? The guy who's too old to be wearing tropical gym shoes. What's good? Since they put me in this view, I guess this is supposed to change something. I don't know what the point they did of making this. Like I was gonna just stop the video or something. That was goofy, in my opinion. But this is why we're here. So I guess this is the special version of the show where they put this guy here, and I swear, y'all know I don't like him. Everybody know I don't like him, right? But when they did Everyday Struggle, they did a great job together. They were yin and yang. Okay? They worked very well together. But as I made a video saying, and it was the honest to God truth, and that honest to God truth was this: hit the like button coming through the door. Let's get that address first. And for those who are hitting the thanks button after watching this later, thank you. Appreciate it. But as I was sitting here in my house cleaning up, and this was playing, you know how one video in and they kick in another video, and somebody played this video? I got to tell you right now, this show is falling apart. Hit the like button for that. Not that the show is falling apart, but this was the worst interview I've heard. Because I'm believing he's a guest, right? And he's being interviewed. Or I don't know if he's just another guest mic just to be on the show. Because he didn't promote anything. He literally got on there and started talking about Rory and Maul. And Joe and even Ish and Ash is like, we didn't get that at all, bro. Like, he was, you probably saw it. No, we didn't see nothing because it was never there. He was insinuating Rory wanted to be on Everyday Struggle and be the host or the co-host. And even Ish and Ash, who knew and been around the whole time, said he never really got that vibe. Even Joe, okay, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'm tripping. And even Ish, right next to Axe, says, that doesn't make any sense. That don't even make sense. Because it don't. It doesn't make any sense. So I gave them credit for that. But we're going to get to why the fall off is happening for Joe Budden's podcast.
Straight from the gun. Do you feel like he felt Everyday Struggle? Maybe he should have been on the show.
No, I wouldn't think that. I never got that.
Right. They kept telling him, after Joe said, no, I didn't feel like that. Academics come back with the same question again. Like, once again, I don't know why is he on this damn thing.
There was a lot of, I was just hearing the conversation and it felt like it was more of, yo, Joe, you could just do this with me. But I'm wrong.
I don't think it was that.
I didn't get that.
I didn't get that.
Okay.
I didn't get that.
Ash is confused. Ash is even confused. What's up, Kwame? I see you. Look how confused Ash is. Because he's trying to create more drama with Rory and Maul, who have moved on and ain't thinking about the show. Joe's trying to move on, ain't thinking about it. But look at him. He got nothing else to do but to try to create drama. Look at Ish.
Let me see how that really makes
What
sense.
I will say is,
Especially with the success of the pop.
if you keep doing
Yeah, that don't even make sense. That's why none of them, even Parks, who wasn't on the camera, had chimed in and said, that don't make any sense. Because all he could do is try to cause division. Then he brings up 6ix9ine. So what was his purpose of coming on the show? To try to draw up views for Joe. Because that's all he knows how to do, is to create controversy and think that's going to talk into viewership. I just did a video that's not aired yet. I'm putting it out on One Crack News. I was trying to see where I was going to put it, but I'm going to put it on One Crack News. And we're going to go over the top 10 earners on YouTube. And these guys are earning 30 million, 50 million, another 30 million. And you're like, what are these people doing? Not one of them are beefing with anybody. Not one of them look like me or my complexion at all. Meanwhile, they got all kind of sponsorships and everything on their doorstep. So why do we think beefing and going at each other is the way to do it? Now, the reason I'm saying Joe Budden podcast is failing is not because I want to talk down on Joe Budden. That's not what I want to do. I'm bringing it to his awareness that he basically knows. Ish and Ash don't work. They just don't work for the show. They're having bad shows because of it. That's why they canceled the tour. The tour was postponed and then it was canceled. And why is this the case? What's up, D-Style? Yeah, in 2024, that's when LeBron wants to go into retirement. In 2 years, he wants to really go into retirement because he wants to be part owner of the Las Vegas team. He wants to be on that bid for that team. He wants to go right into ownership as soon as he retires. I'm not saying he's going to get it, but he wants to go and own the Las Vegas team, and it's going to be a Seattle team, which Kevin Durant want part ownership in, but he's actively playing, so he can't have it. But he's going to go and play back with Seattle before he retires. It's already done, people. This is the game they play. But let's get back to Joe Budden. Ish is very unhappy with his salary. This is a salary thing. This man still works a job. So he can't commit to doing going out of town and doing all these things because he still has a job that he has to do. He has to conform to his work. So if he doesn't conform to his work, there's going to be problems. Joe is vain. Joe was embarrassed with what happened about the show and the tour, claiming they didn't have time to practice because Ish has to go to work. But here's the thing, Joe. If you paid Ish, he wouldn't have to. $2 T.I. He probably is that cheap in real life. But you know T.I. don't talk like that. T.I. wouldn't have never said that to me. Oh no. It was very progressive for you to make such an argyle move towards a passivity of calificence. And your civility thought it would be consciously the correct idea to pursue talking about my son. Yeah, there you go. That's more like it. Now you sounding like Tip. You were sounding like T.I. and ATL. You were sounding like ATL Tip. Now, here's the problem. Fiercely reject any condemnation Nah, man, I was doing yard work today. I was like going over my grass and everything. They just cut my grass. And don't you hate when you water the grass and you find out it's in a storm? It's just typical. Just another day. I'm like, man, I'm sitting here wasting this time watering this grass, and it's in a storm. No, the signs are in. Now, they got a team that's going to push the videos. So they're going to get 200,000, 100,000, period. Those are the unnatural views. Those are called the promotional views. They pay for the promotion to push those. So those first 100,000 is not going to even count. Now, Joe Budden, because he's very confrontational and very much in control of the platform of what used to be the network, his show started to fail because he doesn't know how to run a business. You might be very good at communicating on your podcast and doing everything on your show, but just because you have a great show or a good show doesn't mean it's going to resonate into you knowing how to run a company. Of course, it's because of who Joe is, his ego. He felt he made this far. He felt he made it this far because of him. And when you have that kind of attitude and you don't credit and you kind of disrespect the people that helped make your show what it was, and when they rightfully is asking for what they felt they put in, you know, you got to deal with these personalities. You got to deal with these people. I've seen it a lot of different ways. I've seen this game inside and out. I've seen this game for everything it's worth. I've seen bad relationships with people who are not good working people. When they had everyday struggle, you see he blew the whole show up because he didn't know how to run a business. He thought he was the creator of the show. He owned it. No, Complex owned it. So he didn't realize he wasn't even named in the credits as a co-creator. But he created the name, everything on the show. So he thought it was his show. In his mind, this is my show. Now, damn. Some damn bug flew right into my damn face. Well, of course, Jay is smarter than Joe. Joe is new to this, so wherever he mess up at, he normally would learn from it and be like, okay, now I'm gonna roll this over to the podcast. Then he did the Spotify deal. Didn't realize what it would take and how much work it took to get the Spotify deal going. So the podcast is rolling. It was doing its number. It was successful. Joe decided to move the videos from the whole show onto his personal YouTube channel. Now, if you're Rory and Maul and you were sitting there, you will be offended by that because they weren't getting paid off that. So what you do is you hire an accountant. They could see Joe but felt like he built that show on his own. The podcast, the Joe Budden channel, blew up because of the simple fact of the show. When they start putting the show on there, that's when his subscribers started to grow. When they put the show over there, which included Rory and Maul. When they allowed them to change the name to the Joe Budden podcast, instead of I'll name this podcast later, which was the much better name, once they did that, it was all over. So now, what you're starting to see is the Spotify deal goes left. Joe was right about the Spotify deal. He was right. But here's the problem. These are things you have to negotiate when you walk into the door. He wants to control all of this, but they control the back end, which means that they have the, once you on Spotify, they're like, look, we have all the tools to help you grow and go in the right direction. But you're going to be paying so much money on your end. It was costing Joe a lot of money. He was using reality show money and his own money to try to keep things afloat till that Spotify check come and cover everything. It was really expensive. So these other side deals start opening up. He got a deal with Cash App. Then he had an exclusive deal with Patreon. None of this included Rory and Maul. He told Rory and Maul, start your own YouTube page, and then I'll give y'all permission to use the videos for y'all content. Y'all got my permission to use it. They was like, nah, we ain't doing that. We gonna get what we deserve. See, that was a growing problem. Nope, because I'm trying to bring people up to speed. Because see, that was the learning lesson for Joe. Joe had to get them out of their contract because they had equity into a show. And Joe was trying to say, well, there is no equity. There is no show. Well, there is no spreadsheets. He wasn't keeping spreadsheets. He wrote something down to give them an example of where the money was being spent. And they were like, well, this isn't right. This is crazy. So they want their lawyers to look over the business, right? Because that's what you would naturally do. So he wanted to fire them. But since they were partners, and he gave them a deal back before they were making money to make them partners of the show instead of employees, like I said, he learned from his mistakes, then he comes back again. So he destroys everything. Now he comes back, and now he can get Ish and Ash peanuts. They're going to be employees. He could say Maul walked away, which Maul did. Maul was like, look, I ain't with this. Money don't move me. Money don't control me. Maul just got up and left. He don't want nothing to do with it. Period. So he's like, look, if I see somebody being different or phony, I just go the other way. I don't need their money. So I don't want to go wrestling back in court for the money. Keep it. I'm gone. And Rory basically wanted to know about his money. It was Rory who really wanted to know. Now that they got Ish and Ash in place, Joe got everything he wants. He gets the lion's share of the money. He gets to pay them peanuts. And I said, Joe Budden is going to destroy this again. Watch what I tell you. Because it's only a matter of time before your friends, who before was just comfortable following you around like a lapdog, and you giving them gifts and Amiri hats and funny looking t-shirts just for being your homeboys, they was like, oh man, this is cool. But they weren't on the show. Now they part of the show. And they seeing you rich and they broke. How long before that becomes a problem? How long before Ish decides, why you ain't showing me how to get rich? Why am we sitting around here broke? Why you ain't helped us get to the money? Why you getting all the money and we not? Which leads back to the original statement. And please hit the like button, because the like button is free. It don't cost you nothing. He decides in his hubris, because Joe's ego is out the door, here's what he did. He decided to make a network. Why? Because he saw other people make a network where they have other podcast shows under his show. So he decides to expand and add 2 more shows and called it the Joe Budden Network. Three, 4, 5, 6. Now, first off, Joe has a problem. And if it wasn't for Kwame, I know Joe in public and came out and said what she said about Joe, Oh, he was in deep, deep trouble for his aggressive sexual behavior on a podcast show, trying to lure this girl to sleep with him. Mistake number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. When you're supposed to be running a whole network, it hasn't been a month, and you already going in for a sexual harassment claim against you. Podcast full of women. You pull this act. Then they started to see there was no real support from the Joe Budden network for them. And people start saying, man, we're not really getting any support. And the network seems to be only using our show to bridge in Joe Budden's network. They're not really promoting us, they're promoting Joe Budden's network. So you have a lot of individual minds, right? And you got turmoil. Joe Budden is not a person that can handle turmoil. He doesn't know how to balance all different type of personalities. Just because he did good at a podcast doesn't mean he knows how to run a business. Hey, how you doing, bud? You stop watching them after they split. Well, then you're gonna be doing a lot of stop watching them. It was playing today because I was in the house. You know how they start kicking in stuff. I'm cleaning up, so I could hear the show. And I'm like, this show is bad. I mean, because you basically got people in Ish and Ash who are not usually abreast to any type of industry, anything. They don't. They're not. So what they do is they sit there and they just basically go along with Joe, or if they disagree, they'll make their statement, then Joe will bite back, and then they fall back. It's just, they have no stance. They have no point. Maul, you knew Maul's point. You knew where Rory fitted in. When Joe gets erratic, Rory would make sense of what Joe was meaning to say and explain it to the people who have like an education past 5th grade. Rory puts it in a sense like, this is what Joe meant in that rant. And Maul is just, I hate everything. So Maul disagrees no matter what. Maul, you can't possibly, I don't care what you say, I don't agree. And I don't care how many times you yell, I don't agree with it. And that's just that. And Maul's gonna stay on that side of the road. So Maul, they had their own personalities. And it fit and blended in well with the show with Joe. But because he gave them a contract back when the show had made anything, it put him in a very liable situation. They weren't employees. He couldn't just fire them. They had to choose to leave or do something that was detrimental to them to be released, abandoning their position for the job, which is liable for them to be fired. Now, if this went to a lawsuit, or probably they settled out of court, but if this thing went to court, Joe would be in trouble because he came on the internet basically angry, made a video yelling and arguing at a chair, telling the chair, you're fired. You can't come back to the show no more. When you text that person and told that person not to come in. So he would have lost had it went to court. He later came back and apologized for that video. But now he has no more Joe Budden network. Have you noticed this, ladies and gentlemen? There's no longer a network. Have you noticed that? There is no longer a Joe Budden network. What happened to those podcast shows? Those female podcast shows? What happened? He quietly changed his channel back to JBTV because there is no network. There never was. He didn't know what he was doing. He made those girls' podcasts worse. They were already growing, believing Joe Budden's popularity would help them out, and everything he said that they thought that they were going to get out of the deal, they weren't getting out of the deal. So Joe, once again, started blaming the female anatomy. Oh, you just can't work with females. So once you start talking like that, I mean, the first month of working, you get hit with sexual harassment claims. You come out and apologize, and no one really noticed it because Kwame Brown goes viral. Kwame going viral at the same time this woman was coming out talking about what was happening with her. Led to all of this happening. So Joe was just building up for this tour, like we finna go out and see the people, and they can't rehearse because Ish gotta go to work. Now I don't know how much money he makes, but I bet it's not what Joe Budden is making. Now I'm quite sure he's gonna get paid on this tour, going out on the road. So this is good money. So why wouldn't he say, hey, I'll put my job on hold so we can practice doing this before we go out on the road? This is different than working in the studio. But Ish is like, I can't take off work for the practices. So, for the rehearsal. So we're gonna have to rehearse when I get off work. So once again, Joe is perplexed and said, okay, we're gonna postpone it because we're not ready. It's not because tickets aren't selling, which was true. Tickets weren't selling. The tickets for the Joe Budden podcast that you could see, you can go to Ticketmaster and you could go look up the shows and you see the tickets that are sold for the show and the tickets that aren't. They were put in larger venues than last time, assuming Joe was as big as his ego. Joe came out and admitted that it wasn't his idea to do that. Hello. So yeah. Well, that was the message. So once it was postponed and they were selling tickets, but it wasn't popping, they pushed it back. Next thing you know, Joe gets into it with the people who were planning it, the people who were putting the event together. See, the reason why they chose the bigger venue is because they felt Joe was big enough to sell this. And they figured the small event, Joe should be able to sell that out. But I don't want a sold out event. I'd rather have an event where we can't sell it out, but if we would have been in another place, it would have been sold. They're thinking, how we gonna get our money back off this? So they need butts and seats. But what they got and what they found out is people really don't care about Joe Budden. It was very interesting to learn. Well, good, lovely T. Let her go ahead. I hope she do her tour and it's more successful than Joe. Joe is very delusional. So they ended up canceling the whole thing. Now the tour's canceled. This was supposed to be a big rollout for the summer, right? Now the tour canceled. Still got the problems with Ish and Ash. Well, mostly Ish. But the problem exists is the show isn't good. See, that's where people are losing the connection at. The connecting factor is that the show isn't good. The show used to be good. Now it isn't anymore. Now you might say that's hating. That's an objective perspective. Yes, it's objective. But to me, it's factual. As I look at the show today, I look at the content, I see it's flat. The dialogue is flat. Joe can sense it. And Joe is ready to move on. This is why he's bringing on people like academics right in front of their face. He's basically auditioning and testing. Next thing you know, he'll be doing WAC 100 interviews. Didn't he just interview Isaiah Rashad? Individually by himself, doing Joe Budden singular interviews. Something Joe said he never would do. He don't like guests. But yet there he is interviewing Nicki Minaj. He trying to get his Letterman on, doing his one-on-ones. Ish and Ash isn't getting paid for those. Only Joe. So Joe's gonna think, I'm not mesmerized here. I don't have to be here. Well, you know he gonna interview 6ix9ine, a person he never wanted to be in the same room with when he did Everyday Struggle. He kept telling academics about these people. Now he want to sit down with them and interview with them. And do you know why he wants to do this? He wants to do this because he knows, he can sense, and he can tell what's happening. The writing's on the wall. Academics surpassed Joe as far as internet, he was always that. But as far as notoriety on social media and doing all that, I guess you could say that. But all of his works and antics haven't helped 6ix9ine. And they spoke about that. Like, why ain't this helping 6ix9ine? Joe brought that to academics and asked him a very good question. Why isn't this helping? Why isn't this helping 6ix9ine? All his antics seem to be helping other people. It helps you. It helps Hassan Campbell, basically. It helped Whack. Everybody else got their popularity on it. Back when he used to do this stuff, it used to help him. All his antics and all that wild craziness, that stuff used to help him. Now it don't help him anymore. It hurts him. Yep. Oh, he's not a thing. He's actually done. No, see what academics did was everything Joe blew up at and screwed up at, academics was there to pick up the pieces. Because he's a kiss ass. So when Joe left Complex, I don't need this. I'm not mesmerized here. Once that happened, and he got up and left, academics came in like a little dog. I can do the show. I can do it. No, ain't no Joe, no show. I can do it. So he wanted to do it. So he went up there and tried to do it himself, and it bombed and failed. Then he rolls on over. Joe gets to Spotify and goes, I'm not mesmerized here. And he blows up Spotify. Here comes academic. I can do a podcast show. I got it. I take that deal. So everywhere going up again. Hey Joe, why are you always at work, but not our shows? Cause the shows are work. This is why I should just work with only men. So they start asking too many questions, start naming the female anatomy, and next thing you know, I'm not mesmerized here. Goes back to Joe Budden TV. It's as simple as that. When you abandon your content and you start changing, he might not listen to me. Somebody might play it for him. He's not going to care. I don't have to tell Joe what he already know. If you work with people, you will see it. You will feel it. You can sense it. You know when something isn't working. When something feels forced. When it feels more like an obligation than actual work. The tour is canceled, ladies and gentlemen. There is no tour. Of course, Joe lost his network the very day he went in there trying to sexually harass the women, talking about he was just trying to make a good show. Calling this woman on her private time to try to talk to her about what? You ain't rented a month and you're already about to run the company into the ground. The network, it ain't even off the ground yet. This is what I'll be talking about all the time. So it never changes. You got to change your mentality. If you don't change your mentality and the way you think, it's not going to work. Like, for some weird reason, they put my views, they wanted me to stream my videos like this, in the portrait view. Why? I didn't hold my phone this way. Why would you put my video like this? It's what they chose to do. Thinking this would discourage me for some weird reason. The show goes on, baby. The show goes on. Yeah, Ish and Ash and Joe will fall out. It's inevitable. They're going to split up again. Joe is going to realize his ego gonna step out and go, you don't need these dudes. And Joe's gonna go, you right. I don't need this. And once Joe decides he don't need this, you lose a lot of your steam, right? The ego gonna come in. He don't need Ish and Ash. All he need is Joe. And that's all he should do anyway. To me, Joe should just do what he's doing, those little interviews on the side where he's interviewing people. The podcast is where he goes to vent. And he's in his mode, he's hitting the button. He's in his zone. It's like a kid playing with xylophones. He's having the time of his life. But he needs people to vibe off of him. And nobody vibed better than Rory and Mo. And Ish and Ash, your buddies, your quick fix, it don't work. So you know that you're getting promotional views. Right? So now that you're getting promotional views, like they pay money so that their videos can be in high rotation, can be suggested to you, not even subscribe to it. Next thing you know, here comes a video with Joe Budden on it. You're like, what the hell? So they're paying money to get people to come in and view. But they do it in a way where it's not called buying views. They call it promotion. We will promote your video. So they know this is not, it looks pretty when you see 200,000 views or 169,000. Like, man, they got 169,000 views. Now you know damn well 169, because it's how quick the views come that you know that's some bull numbers right there. Now, they know when they do a real show or people are watching it, the shows normally go to like 280, 300, because that show was interesting or something happened on that show to propel it to where it starts doing even close to 1 million. That's when they really had a great show. So the promotion helps. But when you get the projected numbers you would get on any day, if you just scratched your butt because they're promoting and you're paying for it, you're not really making any money. Why do you think academics get like 300,000 views and all of these fake hits that you guys were thinking? Nobody's even thinking about that guy no more. So how in the world would his videos be getting that kind of view? How do you think he got 2 million subs and all that? It was crazy because people were falling for it. But at that time, YouTube wasn't caring about what was happening. So they start buying these promotional companies. Well, not buying them, but actually using these promotional companies to boost their channels. So they paying money to stay in these categories. So when he started working for broadband and signed his company over to broadband, they promised that they would promote his videos to a certain percentage. And where I said no, he said yes. I turned down 7 figures. Oh, we crunched the numbers. It would have been 7 figures. And I turned that down. And he was like, why would you walk away from a deal that was going to make you a millionaire? You'd have been a millionaire. You walked away. I'm like, I would want a contract to say what I wanted to say, not what they wanted to say. That's how I've always done business. See, nobody was asking for anybody to amend something. And they were going to have control. See, the first thing you do that they don't tell you is once you sign those deals, then they start having people go through your channel and start searching videos and say, okay, take these videos, put these on private. They go through your channel, start checking off videos that they think are inappropriate, or you might need to change these, put these on private, change the title, do this and do that. There's nothing wrong with that. But now they have more control over your page than you do. And if they don't like a video, they can have the power to go and delete it right away. If it's something that's, controversial. So they're trying to protect you from you, which is not bad. But how much money do you give up? Well, you're losing an extra 15% depending on what you do, plus the 15% you're playing YouTube, so that's 30%. And you getting what, 70? Then you got to pay the tax on that. So you looking at possibly a 60-40 split. I don't know what he has now, but he's probably playing 60-40. And then you're paying extra for these views and using clickbaits, click farms, and all this other stuff to try to promote and blow up other people's videos. Then they got busted because 6ix9ine decided to come out, and he was the big storm and all this attention, and he was going to take over Billboard. So they start submitting songs to Billboard. So Academics just made a garbage song and put it out on the internet, used his click farm to blow it up and get it out there on social media. And his songs was charting. And it was like, Academics got a song that's charting on Billboard. Are you serious? So the click farm stuff was working. Then they got into it with Scooter Braun when they tried to say they were inflating Ariana Grande and all her numbers. And Scooter Braun is a real music mogul. Was not ideal for them to take that approach. So because they took that approach, it cost him big time. Well, that's what they mean when they say lights out, party over. These guys pay. Once they did that, 6ix9ine was they got all his fake traffic out. He was kicked out, booted out, and was gone. Booted him right to the moon.
Just bring it out, because that show was a smash. Now, how you feel about it? But I never got that from the guys. There might have been some type of, because the podcast wasn't valued properly when Everyday Struggle was being valued. But we wasn't getting paid Everyday Struggle.
Another reason why I blame you.
And that was another thing Joe brought up. They weren't getting paid like that on Everyday Struggle. Everyday Struggle was a good show with Academics and Joe. They had great chemistry working together. But what I told you is that would never work again. Academics will never go for that position now because he feels he's too big. And he will never let Joe try to talk to him or talk down to him like he did the first time. And Joe wouldn't talk to him the same way. So the show loses its dynamic because the dynamic of that show was successful based on the fact Joe would talk to him any kind of way he wanted and tell him how he doesn't know anything. He needs to shut up, be glad you're doing this and that. Well, absolutely. Listen, you don't see there's problems?
The fuck? What? I'm serious. I can't believe that that's your take on it.
Yeah, why wouldn't it be? My career's taking off. He used to be the breadwinner.
Bro, most of the time, that's the other way around.
Hell no. He broke.
Now you want to judge me. Instead of helping me create better decisions or coming to me and saying, baby,
Crocs, loser. You broke. I'm not communicating.
ain't nothing I can say. Listen to this.
I'm leaving.
He wants to leave. I'm gonna look at him like a fucking dodo too.
I didn't sign up for that. I didn't sign up for that.
I see things different. You crazy, Joe. All relationships is roller coasters. There's ups and downs to these relationships. And you ain't had no money. I was with you, Dodo.
That was your choice. That bag still fucked you suck some dick. I mean, I was broke.
Dog, you can't be serious.
You motherfucker. I'm attracted to what I'm attracted to. And I don't like what's around. You go.
True.
Nigga, I'm blowing this
I don't
joint.
have to tolerate it no more because I got my own money.
See? You see? You see? Y'all don't pick up on the sly comments. Y'all don't pick up on the sly comments that happens on the show. Yeah, I'm waiting on Kwame to make another video. I saw the last one he did. Right, go out and get some sun. It's a beautiful day. He had 2 days off. No, I never looked at it that way. I got Golden State winning the whole thing.
Tell me about your time working with Brian Pumper.
No, no. I don't need to resort to that. DL Hewley? Oh, what DL Hewley said? Oh, DL Hewley basically just said, He said something that was because he came on stage right after Monique.
I'm not getting shit slapped out of me because y'all can't take a fucking joke. He slapped the shit out of that man and national TV and he started crying. The fuck, did you hurt your hand? Let me tell you something. If you don't want people telling jokes about you, stop telling your goddamn business. How about that? Shut the fuck up sometimes. I want to go on red table, bitch. You better talk this kitchen table. We ain't live this good because those setting off is in. Shut the fuck up, shit. It's been an interesting week for black people, a couple of months, man. Bill Cosby was released from prison. As soon as he got out, he could see again. I said, yes.
Yeah, that was some type of troll thing. Oh no, nobody's talking about them no more. No, that's what they want. But we don't give them the satisfaction. They out of there. So yeah, so if y'all feel the show is doing good, that's on y'all. I don't watch it, and mostly anybody I know, they didn't fell off from watching it. Like the show done got stale. So anyway, I'm finna go hit the shower. I'm gonna holler at y'all later. One.